Hello, my name is Lillian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about palm rolling, the effects of palm rolling on your locks, especially at the early stages of your lock journey, and whether you should palm roll your hair or not. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please keep on watching. So today's video is brought to you by Salmon P. She actually commented on my last video asking me to make this video. So she asks, can you talk about palm rolling versus not palm rolling in the beginning stages? When retwisting, I find that palm rolling down the length of my starter locks makes them condensed and skinny, which I do not like. But I also heard that palm rolling is necessary in the beginning stages because it trains your twist and gives them shape. Is it necessary? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is palm rolling. What is palm rolling? So just in case you're new on this whole lock journey thing and you don't know all the terminology, so palm rolling is basically, as the name implies, it is putting your lock between your palm and rolling. So it's basically, let's say this is a lock, you put it between your palm and then you roll, right? Many people do this. There are so many locticians also that advise that you palm roll your locks in the early stages of your lock journey. And apart from palm rolling, another method that people use that is very similar to palm rolling is what they call locksmithing. Locksmithing is kind of like palm rolling, but it's a different technique. And what you're doing is, as you're rolling, you're kind of like twisting and turning. Like there's a technique to it. You can go ahead and Google it and you probably see videos on that. So yeah, that's basically what palm rolling is about. Now, should you palm roll your locks? Wait a minute, before we go into that, let me quickly state the benefits of palm rolling and the reason why many people choose to palm roll their locks. The first reason is that it helps to reduce frizz. Now, in the early stages of your lock journey, it is completely normal for you to have frizzy hair. Like your hair is going to be frizzy because at that early stages, your hair is still getting a hang of this whole new locking thing, right? So it's completely normal for your hair to be frizzy. Like as the months go by, you're going to get to a point where your locks are going to be very, very frizzy, and the frizz will probably not go away until about a year, or for some people it can last up to 2-3 years before the frizz completely goes away, and for some it never really goes away, right? So frizz is completely normal. So many people palm roll their locks because they want to reduce the appearance of frizz or completely eliminate frizz. So that's one of the benefits, and palm rolling actually does work. If you palm roll your locks regularly, you're most likely not going to have as much frizz, and if you do it very often, you may even have absolutely zero frizz. Another reason why many people palm roll their locks is because palm rolling actually helps the locks to be uniform and to be cylindrical. Because just like, think about it, if you're constantly, doing this to your locks, this actually helps your locks to form a perfectly cylindrical shape, and it also helps to make your locks uniform. So unlike many other people that your locks will probably be a particular size at one end, especially at the early stage of your locks, you're going to experience a lot of budding and things like that. And that can make your locks look uneven in various places. So palm rolling your locks regularly kind of like helps to train your locks such that it is uniform and it is like a perfect cylinder as perfect as it can be, as perfect as your locks can be. So another reason why many people palm roll, another advantage of palm rolling is that palm rolling helps to make your locks compact and like more condensed, and this gives the appearance of more mature locks. Because the normal locking processes at the early stage of your lock journey, your locks are going to be very frizzy and things like that. But as your locks get more mature, you see that the frizz will go away and it's going to be more uniform, more compact, and more dense, and more like frizzless and uniform, right? So generally speaking, more compact and like more compressed locks kind of like it shows a level of maturity, right? So palm rolling your locks regularly can give that illusion that your locks are more mature than they actually are. So that's another advantage of palm rolling your locks. Now let's move on to the disadvantage of palm rolling. Palm rolling doesn't really have many disadvantages, to be honest. The only disadvantage of palm rolling is that it's going to make your locks skinny. Your locks are going to be skinny because you're constantly doing this. You're preventing your locks from plumping up and freezing up and balling up and swelling up, right? So your locks are going to be skinny, more skinny than someone who does not palm roll their locks. And I've actually seen several videos of people sharing their experiences of, I can't remember her name, there's someone I watch here on YouTube. If I can find her picture, I'll link it, I'll put it on the screen, and I'll link her channel down in the description box. She was talking about how she was always palm rolling during the early stages of her lock journey, and she feels that actually made her locks not grow as big and as thick as they were supposed to, despite the fact that her locks, like, she started with like really big sections, but her locks ended up skinny because she was always palm rolling her locks, because she felt that she needed to palm roll her locks to train her locks to look a certain way, you know. So the only disadvantage of palm rolling is that palm rolling makes locks skinny. So if you have two different locks side by side, if you do not palm roll one and you palm roll the other one, the one you palm roll will most likely be more skinny than the one that you do not palm roll. However, how often you palm roll also matters. So if you're someone that you're always palm rolling your locks every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, of course, your results is going to be, your locks are going to be more skinny than someone who does it like occasionally or once in a while. So now the big question, should you palm roll your locks? The answer to that is, it depends on you. It depends on what you're looking at, like what you're trying to achieve with your locks and what kind of look you're going for. Is neatness and like orderliness and uniformity more important to you than thickness? If that is the case, then palm rolling will probably be the best option for you. Now, if thickness is more important to you than your locks being uniform and being frizzeless, then definitely palm rolling may not be for you. If you're somewhere in the middle, then you can palm roll your locks occasionally, let's say every few months, you know, just to make your locks, just to sharp be in the middle, right? Now I want to say that despite the fact that palm rolling has advantages, like, you don't have to palm roll your locks to get those same advantages I mentioned earlier. Like there are other methods that you can use to reduce frizz, make your locks more cylindrical, and what was the other advantage? Okay, no, yeah, there are other methods for you to reduce frizz and make your locks more cylindrical other than palm rolling that will not make your locks be as skinny as if you palm roll. So one of the methods that I'll talk about is for frizz. What you can do instead of palm rolling your locks is to loosely wrap your frizz around your locks. You don't have to do it tightly, because if you do it tightly, then you're going to be defeating the process, because if anything done tightly will affect the thickness of your locks, to make your locks not grow as thick. So you want to just loosely take the frizz of your locks, like the frizz around your locks. Let me see if I can find, I just did that for my locks about 2 days ago or so. So my locks are actually not as frizzy. So I don't see, my hair is actually not that frizzy because I just did that to my locks 2 or 3 days ago. But I'm going to link a video up in the iCards where I show you guys how I do this. So you just take, you don't want to take all the frizz, because if you take all the frizz and like wrap it around your lock is going to grow to be skinnier than it should be, right? So you just want to take a few of the strands of hair that are like flyaways, just want to take a few of that and just loosely wrap it around the lock. This will help to reduce frizz. Like, it's not completely eliminate frizz, but it will help to reduce it, and that will generally, you know, help, and that will also help to reduce the frequency of joining and marrying of your locks, if that's what you're concerned about. So another thing you can do to train your locks to be more cylindrical is, number one, how you start your locks in the first place. How the shape of your parts will greatly affect whether your locks are going to be cylindrical or not. If you have like circular parts or like square parts, the chances of your locks being cylindrical will be much higher than someone who has like triangular parts or like rectangular parts, right? The parts of the shape of the part of your lock is like the foundation of how the shape of your locks are going to be. So if you are someone that from the beginning of your lock journey, you have to decide what it is you're looking for. If you want something that will be perfectly cylindrical, then you want to make sure that you start with parts that are roundish or squarish, just like uniform around, so that your locks are going to form cylindrical shape as they grow. Now, another thing you want to do to prevent your locks to train your locks to be more cylindrical, like if you look at my locks now, I've never palm rolled my locks, right? I've never palm rolled my locks, and my locks are like cylindrical, like my locks are not like flat or anything. They are cylindrical, and I've never actually palm rolled my locks, right? So you don't have to palm roll your locks to train your locks to be cylindrical. You don't have to do that. The thing is, once you have done your pattern correctly in such a way that your parts are not rectangular or triangular, or basically any pattern that will give you flat locks, right? Once you have done that, the next step is to make sure that you do everything in your power to prevent flat locks. Now, your locks generally will grow cylindrical once you make your pattern system in a certain way, right? Because especially for those of us that have kinky coily hair, because our hair is kinky coily, it forms tiny coils. The shape of those coils, even for those people that claim that they have fussy hair, like the shape of those coils are like, they most likely will not give you flat locks. You're going to get flat locks by doing several other things, like sleeping on wet hair or doing things that kind of like compresses your locks such that it ends up becoming flat. So what you can do to train your locks to be more cylindrical is, after you have done your pattern correctly, you want to do everything in your power to prevent any activity that will flatten your locks. Now, I talked extensively in one of my videos. I told you guys how to prevent flat locks. I'm going to link that video up in the iCards. So in that video, I explained completely like everything you can do to prevent your locks from flattening out. So doing that, right, you're going to be proactive at making sure that your locks are cylindrical without interfering with the size of your locks. So your locks are going to be as thick as possible, and they are also going to form cylindrical shape. So check out that video to learn more about that. Palm rolling can be good and it can be bad. Personally, I don't palm roll my locks. From the beginning stage of my lock journey, I made up my mind that I'm not going to palm roll my locks because I'm all for thickness and stuff. So for me, palm rolling is not an option. But if you want to palm roll your locks to train your locks, I would advise that you do it sparingly, do it occasionally. Palm rolling your locks frequently will actually make your locks become more skinny than it should be. So if you are concerned about your locks being skinny, then don't palm roll your locks. Do other things that you can do to maintain the cylindrical shape and to reduce the frizz of your locks. So Salmon P, I hope you found this video helpful, and those of you that also watched this video, I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if this is your first time on my channel and you like to see more videos from me, you like to see how my locks progress, you want to hear more tips from me, then definitely subscribe. I make so many hair videos about locks, about loose natural hair, and I give so many helpful tips that have helped so many people so far. So definitely subscribe for more content like that. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you share this video with your friends, your family, and anyone you think may find it helpful. See you guys in my next video. I just wanna get you on my grid sometime.